Liquid staking and DeFi are going to merge this year. Liquid staking has been exploding over the past couple years and is now the biggest category measured by TVL with over $30 billion. This is actually $10 billion more than the second rank, which is lending, and more than double than decentralized exchanges or DEXs as a category within DeFi. The rise of liquid staking has been impressive, and I think 2024 is going to be very big and very bullish for LSTfi, liquid staking token finance. One of the top contenders and most OG teams and contributors in the Cosmos space in that field is in fact PersistenceOne. PersistenceOne is a Cosmos-based layer 1 blockchain that is optimized for exactly that, with the mission to maximize liquid staking yield. PersistenceOne actually started in 2019 with the initial goal to build a platform for RWAs, real-world assets. However, at that time, RWAs weren't as big, it was way too early, and there were a lot of concerns around regulation and just the overall technical overhead and complexities. That's why in 2020, they then pivoted over to liquid staking, as they recognized that number one, users really want to earn yields on their locked assets, and number two, that the market for liquid staking could be very, very big. Remember that at that time, we just came out of the DeFi summer in 2020, which really made DeFi big in the first place, and Lido just started to gain real traction. pStake was then developed as the first liquid staking solution for Atom on the Persistence chain, with the issuance of stkATOM on the Ethereum network. This means that stkATOM, the first version, was actually an ERC20 token. This product actually reached a TVL at the peak of more than $30 million. However, at some point they then noticed that they kind of want to go back to the roots and back to the Cosmos DeFi ecosystem, which started to really take off at that time, which is why they appreciated the ERC20 version of stkATOM and launched an IBC Native Solution in January of 2023. Persistence is also building core DeFi primitives around their liquid staked token economy, which is also the core differentiator really to Stride, which is why in April of 2023, they then launched Dexter, which is the native flagship DEX home to the PersistenceOne chain, with the core mission to build out liquidity for yield-bearing assets or LSTs and for stable tokens such as USDC or USDT. The core team behind PersistenceOne is Tushar Agarwal, who has been also a frequent guest here on my channel. He's the founder and the CEO over at Persistence Labs. Then we have Mikkel, who is the CSO, and Jeroen, who is the head of product. The core mission of PersistenceOne is to provide a secure infrastructure for decentralized applications to build an economy around liquid staked tokens. Why is that important? Well, because as proof of stake grows, staking will become the per se fixed income in crypto. LSTs will then become the predominant medium of exchange and replace the native tokens in DeFi due to their capital efficiency. Because up until liquid staking really took off, you always had to decide between staking or participating in DeFi. And with the rise of LSTfi, you can actually do both. Persistence is also a strong believer in the AppChain Thesis, which means that they think there will be much more chains in the future, which means more adoption, more demand, more LSTs, and more LST DeFi. Persistence is well positioned here because they actually have the technology ready and they have been in the game for a long time. So they are resilient and really veterans when it comes to liquid staking. More recent milestones have been that PersistenceOne alongside Stride have been actually the first two liquid staking providers to support the liquid staking module, which was developed by Zaki Manian for Inclusion, which lets users convert their already staked atoms into liquid staked atoms without having to first unbond. So that really means users can bypass the 3-week unbonding period and have a much smoother interaction and usability of liquid staking. PersistenceOne is also the first and only chain after the Cosmos Hub that implemented the liquid staking module itself, and more recently, Proposal 853 Persistence is now also closely aligned with ATOM when it comes to liquidity. 600,000 atoms were allocated after on-chain governance approval from the Cosmos Hub community, so that these atoms could be allocated to pStake to increase liquid staking adoption. And these atoms were split up between providing liquidity on Astroport on Neutron, as well as on Dexter, which is home to Persistence. In addition, Persistence also acquired Astro tokens in order to participate in the upcoming Astro Wars on Neutron, and they're also exploring shared security concepts to improve the security of the PersistenceOne chain. So they are looking closely at Babylon chain, which is bringing Bitcoin security to Cosmos, as well as mesh security. Now let's look at their two flagship applications, which are pStake and Dexter. Starting with pStake, it is the Cosmos-focused liquid staking protocol on Persistence that currently supports ATOM, Osmo, but also BNB. Users can liquid stake those tokens with pStake to earn the staking rewards, but also participate in DeFi. So you don't have to sacrifice yield and you don't have to choose between the two. You can do both at the same time. There's obviously a lot of stkATOM liquidity and pools across Cosmos dexes, such as Osmosis, Astroport, but also Crescent Network. And stkATOM is also used as collateral on DeFi applications such as Inter Protocol, where you can mint your IST stable token, or on Mars Protocol, where you can lend out your stkATOM and earn extra yield. The traction so far is that pStake reached a $10 million TVL and has more than 10 DeFi partners across the Cosmos ecosystem, such as Shade Protocol, Osmosis, Nolos, Umi, and more. stkDYDX and XPRT are next up to be liquefied. And especially DYDX is interesting because if you stake your DYDX today, you're not only earning DYDX tokens, but you're also earning native USDC. And through the pStake liquid staking solution, this USDC actually gets swapped back into DYDX and auto-compounded, which really means you're maximizing your yield. Two more unique features for pStake include a flash unstaking tool, which means that you can immediately unstake your liquid stake tokens by paying a 1% fee. And you also have automated validator delegation strategies that focus on network decentralization to increase the Nakamoto coefficient. Dexter, on the other hand, is the native DEX on the PersistenceOne chain that is focused on yield generating assets and stable swaps. To give you an example, if you want to swap 150,000 USDT for USDC, you can go in Dexter and you only have a 0.025% price impact or slippage, and you only pay 15 cents in fees. Dexter also doesn't have its own token. Instead, it relies on XPRT as a default token for governance and liquidity incentivization. Dexter currently supports LSTs, including stkATOM, but also stablecoins, USDC and USDT, as well as other tokens like DYDX, pStake, and XPRT. Some of the unique features for Dexter include a trader's rebate program for stkATOM traders and instant LP unbonding by paying a 5% fee. Looking at some numbers, so far Dexter has achieved $7 million in trading volume and $5 million in liquidity. The APRs for the Atom and stkATOM pool, but also for the USDC and USDT pool, both are at 20% currently for each pool. Now let's look at the XPRT token and its utility. Similar to all Cosmos Layer 1 blockchains out there, the core utility for the XPRT token is actually to, number one, provide security for the chain, which means you can stake it. Number two, to pay for gas fees. There are currently 5,000 transactions per day and 1,100 daily active accounts. Number three, you can use it for governance in order to conduct chain upgrades, parameter changes, community pool spend proposals, or to drive LSTfi on persistence via Dexter. And also number four, to increase the traction by bootstrapping liquidity for LSTfi, for example, through LP incentivization on Dexter, or to use XPRT as the base asset on Dexter itself. The circulating supply for XPRT is currently 194 million tokens, which implies a $70 million market cap. Persistence also went through a halving in 2023, which has reduced the inflation rate for XPRT by over 60% since the genesis in April of 2021. The current staking rewards are 14.8%, while the inflation is at 12.5%. And staking rewards currently include inflation and transaction fees, but there could also be revenue share models for Dexter or pStake in the future. Most of the tokens have been unlocked. There is one final unlock happening in March of 2024, so in roughly 3 months, which unlocks 3.1 million XPRT tokens. Now, to conclude, Persistence really is one of the most OG teams. They have been here on this channel for the past couple years regularly, and they are one of the most committed and passionate teams around liquid staking and to drive liquid staking adoption in Cosmos. Now, stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to be sharing with you clear strategies and use cases on how you can actually maximize your yield in Cosmos DeFi for liquid staked tokens.